Fear. Welcome back to Succession Week 3. A little late this time because it was Easter Sunday. You were sick for a couple days. We watched the episodes on our own this time. But I guess that gives us more time to digest.
Holy fucking shit.
Because everybody else, like, I've had a couple days to just, like, process the death of Logan.
I don't watch this.
Don't watch this. I feel like the way the internet is abuzz right now, I would hope no one is dumb enough to click on this if they haven't seen the episode and actually care. Because
Logan is dead and holy shit.
Well, honestly, the only reason I watched it on my own, like we watched it on our own because we were scared of spoilers. Because at least I was. After like day one, I was like, after like launch day where it was Easter and we were both like busy with our families, everybody's online saying, this episode's crazy. This episode is the best episode of TV. And I'm like, I gotta watch this now. Or the whole thing's gonna be on. I cannot open the app of TikTok until I've watched the episode, because TikTok doesn't care. No. You just scroll through your feed and there's clips of people dying, of Logan dying. Yeah, like it doesn't matter. But I think what gets you, so we predicted Logan death in episode 1. After episode 1 of this season, yes. After that scene with him and Colin in the diner, we predicted Logan death.
Yeah.
But I don't know,
I didn't predict it like this.
This soon or this...
Sudden,
yes. They sort of, okay, in hindsight, I've been thinking about this. The second episode, the "You're pirates" speech, that was like an anti-death flag. Because that's the kind of monologue that a character gives when they're about to go full freaking villain mode. Yeah. And then for him to die the next episode without actually having gone that was in a way there was a lot they did a lot of like anti-death flagging to make it unexpected, because he's had health issues since season 1. Him dying was never not a possibility, but like
even hell, there was a real possibility that like episode 2,
right,
he's dead,
the whole show,
and the whole show is just them having to work
so
around.
his death is shocking because of the way that they like build up, and even in the beginning of this episode, he's firing on all cylinders. He's ready to cook Jerry. That was before his death. That was the big shocker to me. I was like watching the episode of, holy, what? He's gonna throw Jerry under the bus for cruises? He's gonna kill Jerry for everything, and he's gonna make Roman do it. Why is it? And it's unclear exactly why he was doing that, and I guess we'll never know now. But he was like ready to take Jerry down. Yeah,
he was going aggro on Jerry for no seemingly.
It couldn't have been just because she was laughing at the video of Carrie. No, because he didn't go after Hugo.
I think what it was is, if I had to guess, I think what it is that Jerry. We talked about this before. Yeah. Jerry is loyal to herself, but even more than that, Jerry is loyal to the company. Mm-hmm. And Logan wants people that are loyal to him,
especially in this time of crisis where his kids have turned on him, and he's losing everything to Mattson in this deal. Yeah. He wants people on the inside who are loyal to him, that he can trust, that he can puppet. So that was one subversion to keep me, because even Jack hyping up the episode in our Discord, I literally said in our Succession thread, I'm like, Logan's gonna die, isn't he? Don't tell me. I just think he's gonna die this episode. But then the episode starts.
There was a vibe.
There was a vibe. But the episode starts, and you get far enough in that you're like, okay, they are cooking.
Do you think for a second the conflict is going to be that they're going to have to tell Connor he's not coming to the party?
Right. That's the other subversion they did. Is with the marketing and the framing around this whole episode was focused on. It's called Connor's wedding, and the whole focus is on like in the trailer and stuff is on Connor, like Connor this, Connor that. Another
which is
Connor episode.
Which is like a funny subversion because it goes to reinforce that idea that Connor always posits, where it's like he's only important in the way that he can suffer for other people's amusement.
Yeah.
Because his own wedding becomes the backdrop for Logan dying. What are we gonna do?
But he still has the wedding. Remember, last week after we finished recording, we went out to our cars, and before we drove off, we were like, would it be sadder if Connor finds out Willa is marrying him for money, or like comes to awareness of that and still marries her, or if the whole wedding breaks off? And we both were like, it'd be sadder if he just still marries her.
And that we did get there. But I think it's even sadder that he got married. Like it's supposed to be sad. It's supposed to be sad.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of like not sweet, but like
it's a
like
weird.
Good things could come from bad things. But then it immediately undercuts that with like, do you love me? Are you only with me for the money? And it's like, holy shit. The worst day of Connor's life.
Well, okay, but at the same time, from his twisted perspective, it might be a bit of a triumphant moment.
It might be, yeah.
Because Willa basically says yes to that question.
Yeah.
Do you love... But also...
Yes, but no.
Yeah, but then also it's like Connor is at such a state of lovelessness that he doesn't care. Like, even if Willa...
He said as much.
Yeah. Even if Willa is mostly there for the money, Connor, like, she still pays more attention.
Even if it's 95% money, 5%, I love you. I care about you.
That's still more than the rest of his family are getting.
Combined.
When the siblings find out that Logan is dead, and Tom's like, get Shiv, and I'm just sitting there the whole time like, no, what about Connor? Nobody even said Connor's name during that whole section where Logan is dying. They don't remember he exists until after Logan is dead already.
In fairness, if they did remember, I think it would be shittier for him, like, the middle of, like, his wedding preparations and him, like, schmoozing up his guests to be like, hey, Dad died.
Yeah, they kind of pulled him aside.
They pulled him aside when he was alone.
Yeah, basically. And, I love Connor's reaction to finding out that his father is... his first words, just the matter of the fact that he didn't even like me. That's why I think this is kind of, in a weird way, a triumphant episode for Connor, because he's the only one who skips straight to the acceptance phase about Logan's death. Like, immediately. He's just like, he didn't...
Granted, none of the kids have a healthy reaction. No. But, like, you can't really have a healthy reaction to a death this sudden. And I especially a person as toxic as Logan.
Yes. And I love Connor, too. Like, not only is that the first... he says
immediate acceptance and then immediate regret about being so accepting of it, and then immediately back to accepting it.
Well, I don't even think it's regret about it necessarily. It's, he plays that weird, so, like, even though the other siblings don't recognize him for it, he's always played this, like, sort of father figure-y role to them. So you can see he says that his gut reaction, well, he didn't even like me. Guess he's not going to like me. But then his next instinct was to, like, put aside his feelings about
Logan
on
the kids.
To like keep them calm.
And then when like they're as calm, he sees that they're as calm as they can be in the situation, he goes back to moping about.
Yeah, he just leaves. He leaves after like like a scene with them, and then he goes and talks to Willa, because Willa's the only one who's actually going to listen to him talk about this subject, whereas the other siblings are understandably so wrapped up in their own grief. But it's like, Connor doesn't want to be there for that.
No.
He doesn't need to be there for that. Very good episode for Connor. Not as Connor-centric as the last one, but still a very good episode.
Everyone had a great...
Everybody, yeah. It's just a given. Even
like Tom and Greg, who, like, you didn't think, like, this is the kids episode, they don't really have any. Tom gets a ton of great...
Yeah, well, because Tom is...
You get actual emotion from Tom, but also, like, genuine fear. Because with Logan gone, Tom has never been in a more vulnerable position.
They did what they always do, which works so great with the Tom and Greg duo, is that the entire episode, Tom is the one who has to be on the phone with the kids, telling them their dad is dying, and he does it so like he's so comforting. He handles it as well as he possibly could when being forced into that bad situation. And but then you get his one Greg conversation post death, and it's like, oh, he is still cutthroat cooking.
Yeah.
He's not as
he's sitting there thinking like, fuck, who do I team up? Who do I work with now? Who do I team up with?
I need if this gets leaked, Greg. If this gets leaked, I want people to know I was in the room. Like, that's what makes the Tom and Greg duo so interesting. Is Tom presents one front to the other kids at all times. Like, he presents one mask to everybody else in the show, and then with Greg you get to see his real emotions usually, like his more real, more like scheming.
But like even with Greg,
there's a different mask of like power.
Well, I was gonna say that even with Greg, like you still see that like for as much as he can be monstrous, he's still maybe one of the only good people in this show because Greg is like, shit, dude, are you serious? And like Tom's like, I'm sad, I'm hurting, and you can tell that is genuine, but he's also very worried about his position.
It's also Greg is the one who Greg does not really grieve much. It shows how not close Greg actually is to Logan. That his response is just kind of, oh shit, wow.
Greg has always just been in proximity to him. And for Greg's benefit, because being close to Logan without being associated with Logan or having to put up with Logan's bullshit is the best way to climb, is the best position for Greg to be in, where he can climb without ever having to deal with immediate repercussions, except for in season 2 when they were putting Tom on trial.
You can see that also in the contrast between how Logan's kids handle the news and how the others, the other business people handle the news, where the kids are like, the kids are distraught to really do anything for a while.
Yeah, the kids are all completely destroyed with grief. And then all of his business partners, even Frank, his closest, the only person I would say is a genuine friend to Logan, are like, fuck, well, what do we do now? Like, what's the play? How do we spin this? Like, I think they say multiple times, how do we spin this?
This was honestly a great episode for, like, the side gaggle.
It does a great job of showing... It's both a devastating episode to, like... It's like a great... It's a great episode to show how strong this show will still be without Logan.
Yeah, for sure. Because even Carl, who is usually a nothing character, had some good freaking lines this episode. And like Frank, the scene where Frank and Kendall have their private phone call.
And like Tom's trying to be courteous and accommodating, and Frank is just matter of fact
straight up with it.
He's gone. I'm sorry.
It's undeniable that without Frank telling Kendall that, Kendall would have been the most unstable of the three siblings, I think. But that conversation with Frank, like...
Roman would have still been in the most denial, but Kendall would have been, like, furious, like, why aren't you doing more?
Yeah.
Why aren't... land the plane now. I don't care if you don't have a runway. Land it now. Get those pilots fired, then rehired, then fired again and replaced. Then bring him here and perform dark arts. Like, that's what... Like, if Frank had not just matter-of-factly told him he's gone...
Well, yeah, I guess we should talk about... So, like, Roman is the one who gets the call, who gets the news. I didn't notice this at first. I didn't notice this until I was reading online. I didn't notice that Tom called Shiv earlier.
He's been called... He called her multiple
I missed that,
times.
but I was like, that makes sense.
And that makes sense that she would ignore that because she would think it would just be Tom trying to litigate more divorce drama.
Divorce stuff.
But clearly, it was entirely because Logan was dying.
Yes, and then he calls Roman because...
He's like, okay, Shiv's not going through. Roman.
Well, and because Roman was the one he was talking to.
He knew Roman was talking to Logan.
I mean, that's part of what... The best thing they did with this is not giving Logan a death scene.
No,
you literally find out over the phone from Tom, and so
it makes it feel way more. It makes it feel way more raw and real.
They have that great shot where they're like up in Roman and Kendall's faces as they're holding the phone in front of them, and the camera's like here, like getting just them like on the ground, slowly figuring the stuff out, and you're like leaning forward too because you're like, what's happening? Is he actually dead? Like what's? I mean, I kind of. In my gut, as soon as I heard he was sick, I'm like...
He's dead.
Oh, so that's what this episode is going to be now.
Yeah.
But, like, you had to process all the information with the siblings, and so it's like...
You had as much information as that.
Yeah.
And you didn't get more information until they finally cut to the plane.
The plane.
At which point you're like, oh, he's putting on airs, he's completely motionless, he's dead.
It's like, it's bad.
It's worse than he can convey.
And the fact that Shiv isn't there because they just sent her out to go, like, do something.
They sent Shiv out to break the news to Connor that Logan isn't coming to the wedding.
And then the so much worse news.
And then he gets so much
right
worse. He's not coming to the wedding because he's dead.
Yeah, we should also talk about Logan making Roman fire Jerry.
That was so fun. And Roman. Even Roman could tell this is fucked.
Well, because Roman called Logan afterwards and said he was acting cunty. That was the most confrontational Roman has ever gotten with his dad, and it was. You can see that pays off so well.
That affects him the whole episode because he's so worried that is the last thing his dad ever
do you
heard.
think Dad checked his messages? Like he's so. He realizes that like halfway through, and then he's like, "Did I even say I love you on the phone call?" The way they all handle the situation is top tier acting performance from all them. We didn't even talk about Shiv's reaction.
Shiv's reaction is just like is the reaction that you would expect of like the daddy's little princess.
Yeah,
she's completely emotionally devastated. Mm-hmm. She still hates her dad, and she makes that she still makes that clear, but she's completely devastated because. Her father is dead.
It's Kendall who says, "I love you, but I can't forgive you."
And Shiv is like, "I love you," and then like breaks down, and then says, "I love you" again, and then literally can't be in the room anymore.
These are all their last words to. They're holding up the phone to Logan's ear. Maybe he can hear it. Maybe he can't. Tom kind of knows. Like especially by the time Shiv gets in there.
Definitely by the time Shiv gets there, he's been dead.
But
he is legally dead.
But Tom, in his we see a very understanding side. Like Tom immediately understands that Shiv needs that Shiv needs to give words.
In the same way that like back in season 1, Shiv needed to see Logan in that sort of vegetative state to understand. Marsha's not keeping us from him. Yeah. He actually needs to be alone.
Well, in this episode, it's Roman is the one who basically needs to go see Logan's body at the end. Yeah. To fully have it set in. Like, first Kendall accepts it due to his conversation with Frank.
Kendall, once again, the writer's showing that, Kendall is kind of the pseudo-protagonist. Where, he has it's not that he gets the most focus, it's just that his reaction is so
well, he is the only one of the siblings that is at all competent to figure out what their next move is going to be.
Which says a lot.
Yeah.
Which says a lot about him, where it's like he's so kind of
I feel like they
not emotionally damaged just from life in general, but I
think he's better at compartmentalizing his emotions
because he's had to compartmentalize a lot. He's emotionally numb. He's almost emotionally numb.
I think Shiv is used to using her emotions to her advantage to manipulate people. Roman is used to masking his emotions and not feeling them through humor. Yeah. And Kendall is used to just zoning them out.
And that was on display with all the kids. Kendall in the most not healthy but the most normal way. And with Roman and Shiv, it was played in reverse, where the control that Shiv normally has was completely taken away from her. And with Roman, he just couldn't find the humor in it.
There was no humor to find, so he was just that. Oh, and the scene where he tries to get comfort from Jerry. and she just completely shuts him down.
I interpreted it the other way, where like he was kind of Jerry was trying to like kind of extend something of an olive branch, but like he still felt kind of like he had betrayed her and was trying to almost play the bad guy, where it's like I can't do this right now, and that just made it worse for that between the two.
Yeah, whatever the case, the Roman Jerry dynamic.
Regardless, like their dynamic is not good, to put it simply.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting though that this episode has the classic split between two storylines, which is usual for this show, but
this time it's the same storyline, just in two different locations.
Yeah, and they're separated by location. The siblings are powerless, and then meanwhile, but I like that after a certain amount of time with the siblings, they do cut back to the plane for a while.
Yeah,
and give us like their reactions. You get to see Carrie.
Everyone had and you get like Carrie, who is just
Chuckles the clown,
but
it makes sense because the videotape for her news anchor thing established that she like has this creepy nervous.
Well, I didn't even think like it was like her like actually laughing. That was just her being her trauma response of, oh, that just happened. That just happened.
No, that's what I'm saying. The anchor thing establishes that her response to that kind of stuff.
She just kind of puts on a face.
Yeah, like puts on a really and
then everyone else roasting her for it. Like wow.
Well, that was a bit of their like pettiness.
Their chance to wring their revenge on her.
Yeah, because none of them like her.
None of them ever liked her. They only put up with her because Logan was. She was Logan's new doll.
That scene makes it very clear how they feel about Carrie.
Yeah.
Who else? There was one. Okay, the bodyguard, Logan's bodyguard, Colin, had one really great shot, and he was in one shot right at the end, and that actor made it all count. Yeah, all of the emotions about Logan in one shot.
Like, I don't know how often we've seen him before. I know we saw him in the first episode. I can't recall if we've seen him in other episodes.
I think he may have been the one.
If so, he almost definitely didn't have a speaking role.
Yeah, I think he was the one. And I sort of gathered this online. I think he was the one who helped with the cover up from what Kendall did in like season 1.
Right.
So like he was involved, but we never really saw him as a person. Just him as like the scary force that Kendall was
literally just doing. A tool
used by Logan. Yeah. But that's between that
his like 5-second or less reaction of just like on the tarmac like fuck like you could almost hear him saying like fuck fuck, I wish I could have like done something or been there. Like that was like resignation.
And there's also the fact, we haven't mentioned it yet, but there's the fact that the only reason that this happened this way, that Logan died without any of his family, it's all his own fault.
It is all
He literally could have gone to
He has no one to blame for this but himself.
He literally could have gone to Connor's wedding and maybe survived.
Yeah, maybe survived, or if he still ended up dying, like if his heart just straight up gave out, and like no amount of resuscitation could have fixed that, then at least he could have died in the company of his family.
But instead, he died on a plane with business colleagues.
His business colleagues
didn't care that much about
and he probably hates half of them.
Yeah, and his last move that he made was trying to fire Jerry.
Yeah. To be even more, make it even more pathetic, the last move he made was probably a bowel movement.
Yeah. No, Logan.
Because he didn't die on the toilet, but he collapsed on the toilet.
And I think that's what is so great about it, is he got his like karma, but in the saddest way.
The worst way.
Like.
The karma that it's the Joffrey Baratheon, if you've watched Game of Thrones, karma of the Joffrey was this little shithead who everyone wanted to see die from the moment he was introduced. And then when he does finally die, it makes you realize, holy shit, we've been rooting for the death of a child. What the fuck? Mm-hmm. Like that type of death. Like the same thing here where it's like, man, I don't care that Logan has the most business sense. I don't care that Logan thinks he loves his kids. He's a toxic abuser who needs to die for the health of his own kids. And then you're like, holy shit, this old man just fucking his heart fucking exploded. And
it just comes so out of nowhere. And it's absolutely crazy.
It's out of nowhere like a truck. Yeah.
And every character, it's like, it's telling Greg only has like one scene after Logan's death, because at that point the tone shifts to a point where you can't have a funny Greg subplot anymore, really. So you really just get the scene of him finding out what's going on through talk.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a funny scene.
You could see in like a season 2 or season 3, even season 3 version of this script, where Greg running around like trying to keep the secret would be the comedy of this.
Yeah.
And then like he would be the one to break it to Connor. Like that, like you could see like a version of the script.
Yeah.
Not where they like play it more for laughs, but where they want to have more of that balance
even looking at the way that the first season handles Logan's almost death in the like first couple episodes.
Where Kendall is all drama. Shiv and Roman are mostly drama. Mm-hmm. Tom is there for some kind of funny.
Tom and Greg are just comedy.
Tom and Greg are the comedy of Tom like starting his arc of bullying Greg, and Greg just having to put up with everyone's bullshit.
This is how like the show has ramped up stuff, and everybody's saying this is like the best episode, and I mean I think they're right.
It's
one of the best.
I definitely think it's.
But also
best.
like.
I think it's the best episode in the sense that like it got like every single character got a chance to shine,
including the little.
Even Logan in his death had a small golden chance to show just how much of a sadistic fuck everyone bastard he was by making Roman twist the knife into Jerry.
Yeah,
his two most loyal companions, and he's making them stab each other.
Logan. Yeah. So that's the episode. Who knows where it's gonna go from this point?
Based on that preview, it sounds like Madsen is using this as an opportunity to completely take over.
Yeah.
And the kids might. It's in this weird position where like Madsen is almost becoming the villain. And the kids are almost like the way the trailer framed it. It's like the kids are gonna try to blow up the deal to save their father's legacy. And Madsen is the villain who wants to break the company down into the useful parts.
It's also like
obviously that's not. It's more complicated than that.
Well, it's interesting how like I don't know how much is actually like game wise. It still seems like it's the kids versus the rest of them. But also without Logan's protection, so everybody's kind of out for them. Like it's about to get.
The Game of Thrones comparison is apt. This is when the knives.
I mean, that's what I was gonna say a minute ago. It's like, yeah, this was like the best episode, but also, even the first 2 episodes, like this season has already been firing on such a unprecedented level, and then it throws this at us.
Yeah.
3 episodes in.
Holy shit.
We're about to go like this.
They're cooking.
I'm surprised.
I'm
surprised to hear that a lot of the actors in the show didn't realize it was going to be the final season until the read of the last script, because I feel like with the Logan death, it feels like something that would be kind of obvious.
Yeah. Well, the way they described it in the post talk, it sounds like they were told, they were either told before the episode or during the season pitch that this is the season where Logan dies. And then they're like, they found out, oh, it's episode 3. Oh, it's happening off screen. And each actor had to think about how the character would react to that.
Yeah. Craziness.
Crazy.
Succession is the best show on TV right now, and this could be the best season of a TV show. If they've kept up the momentum so far,
they would have to.
Increase.
They would have to do.
They'd have
something.
to Game of Thrones late game bungle it.
They would have to.
Faster
Yeah, they would
and
have
harder.
to. They would have to speed run into the final 3 seasons of Game of Thrones. Level bad writing to fuck this up.
Yeah.